Good morning, traders. It's time for the market forecast. Tuesday, March 16th. I'm John Hoagland. As always, thanks for trusting me with your time. Always looking at these markets through consistent context, through the lens of risk management. Hopefully, things are going well for you this morning. We've got lots of data due out today. The FOMC meeting begins today. Retail sales numbers are out. A little bit disappointing, but there's kind of a positive in this. They revised last month's considerably higher, so we've got some kind of conflicting information in those numbers. Import-export numbers were a little bit better than expected. At 8:15 Central this morning, we're expecting industrial production. And 9 o'clock this morning, business inventories and the housing market index. What was I going to say about the retail sales? We're probably going to see a boost in retail sales in March here when these stimulus checks get sent out. So it'll be an interesting release next month. We're going to have to see how these markets respond to this morning. As far as so far, we've got U.S. stocks set to open mixed. We've got the S&P and the Nasdaq higher. We've got the Dow and the Russell lower. The new wave of COVID infections is hitting Europe, probably not being helped by Germany's decision not to distribute the AstraZeneca vaccine, which was, I think, followed by Italy and France. So we've got a little bit of a situation going over there as far as COVID is concerned. Crude prices are softened a little bit this morning as we await new information from the API and the EIA. Those have been some volatile numbers of late. We've seen a couple of really large boosts in crude inventories here in the U.S. It'll be another interesting day today for us to see how those come out. The API due out 3:30 this afternoon, and then of course the EIA tomorrow at 9:30. Tomorrow is also rollover date for crude oil, so you want to look at the volume in the April and then look into the May contract, see which one starts the day with more volume. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow morning, and I'll pick the one that has the most volume. But by Thursday, we're most likely going to be trading the May contract. So make sure you like, share, comment, question, feedback, and heckling are always welcome. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get notified when we do go live. Taking a brief look here at the VIX, the Dixie, and the 10-year yield. VIX down a little bit, 19.99. Let's party like it's 1999. The dollar index down a little bit also, 91.78, and the 10-year yield right at 1.6%. On a personal note, March 16th is my wedding anniversary. Honey, I know you're not watching, but I love you, and it's been 25 blissful years. I'm looking for 25 more blissful years. Happy anniversary, honey. I'm going to say good morning to everybody as usual. Good morning, Ed Nelson, first in the room. You win the prize. Beautiful Tuesday. Let's hope so. Bill, Felix, good to see you. My brother Rick, good to see you. Brian D, James, level 2. Yes, Felix has some competition to get in the room these days. Caesar, Jonathan, Bulldozer, Joseph, Felix, Keith, good morning. Laura, good morning. Danny, Adam, Charles, Jason, Kevin, Murph, good morning. Art W. Art, I hope that you've been able to get into the Discord channel. I don't have a link for everybody here this morning, but as far as I know, it's public. You just look up Top Step and hopefully you can get in there. Level 2. Do you take late? Do you take how? Do you take late in the day drives into consideration, especially if we're creating all-time highs? I sort of use the launch point as SOC, scene of the crime, short-term important level. Yes, late drives, or as I call them, late spikes, are usually sometimes a pretty good indication of acceptance or rejection of price at those levels. So when we open in a late drive or above a late drive, similar to what we're doing, I think in the S&Ps this morning, we're going to take a look at that. Opening in that late spike or above that late spike indicates acceptance of higher prices. We had the same thing yesterday. We had a pretty good down move, which was another kind of a special situation with the value area, and then by the end of the day, the truth comes out usually, as to what's going to win, and the late spike we opened in yesterday ended up basically ruling the day. The higher prices were accepted. But yes, it's something I certainly look at. Good morning, Shady Trader. Lamus, Daryl, Trading Research, John Doherty, good morning, JD, Angelina, Rob T, Ashton, Murph, Andre, Angelina. Oh, hi. Thank you very much for the anniversary. Congratulations, and yeah, it's been 25 unbelievable years, and I know it's kind of hard to believe I've been married for 25 years because I'm only 27. So, always good to see you too, Coleman. The chef Mike Magallanes is here. Angelina, Topstep has a Discord channel where we have kind of rooms open for traders to just kind of talk about trading. I'm going to make sure and can't find it in Discord. All right, well, we're going to see if we can't get that link up here one of these days here. I'm going to make sure and do that for us tomorrow. And that's... thank you, Coleman. All right, so we've got more good news. We've got our charts nice and stable this morning. For whatever reason, the gremlins are being nice, and we're going to be able to get all the way through our forecast this morning with solid charts. All right. Let's dive in. Here is the daily in crude, just going from left to right. We've got range-bound activity. Overall, you can see it here. It's in rollover. That tends to happen. We've got a pretty decent move down here right off the open down to the weekly kickoff low, which is 63.80. Looks like we got down to 63.82. It could be a decent support level for us. It's certainly a level that I'm looking at for an execution. So, being rollover week, lots of data due today and tomorrow. Not looking for any major changes in market state here. Obviously, this market has been holding structure to the upside. This support level here, so this weekly kickoff level, might be an interesting spot in either direction. If it holds, we'll look for continuation to the upside. If this doesn't hold, we may see a pretty decent pullback to the downside. And then, of course, we're waiting for new information. So looking now into the 30-minute chart, the overnight inventory is short, but we saw, I believe, an opening range, which remains the high of the regular trading hour session. And as long as that remains, it kind of puts me in an awkward situation because I'm looking for opportunities to continue this move to the downside. We've got sellers in control right off the open, but I've got an important inflection level that I'm really looking at this 63.82. So, is this an opportunity? Yes. Is the opening range an opportunity? Well, yes. It's about a 50-tick opportunity to the downside. We're getting more and more short as the time goes on, but if we continue to push down below this weekly kickoff level, all of our overnight inventory is going to continue to get paid. So this is an important pivotal level here. We may come back and revisit this as the profile or the forecast goes on. Looking now into the E-mini S&Ps, boy, we had some really big volume yesterday in the overall. It's still a little bit of rollover activity going on, but we added 175,000 in open interest. That, I think, is largely because of rollover, but that's a really big boost. We had 3.25 million contracts trade yesterday. And again, somewhat rollover related, but that big jump in open interest is extremely interesting to me. Big volume, open interest boost. You can never discount the resilience of these markets. And when there's no bad news, things just continue to grind higher, and that's what I think we did yesterday. When we take a look at the late spike that we opened in yesterday, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. So this is the late spike here, level 2. This is, I think, what you're talking about, and this is something that I certainly look at. So when we opened yesterday in the regular trading hours session, we opened in the late spike that occurred on Friday to the upside. When we open in that or open above it, it indicates that price is likely going to be accepting value at higher prices, and we want to go in that direction. Now, we had another situation, which is a value area special situation. If we re-accept inside the previous day's area of value after opening outside of it, sometimes you're going to get a pretty decent move that may take you all the way down to the low of value from the previous session. We had a pretty big move to the downside. We didn't quite complete it. And sometimes that's important information. When you're looking for a special situation like this to occur, you want you want it to complete. You want it to come all the way to the low of value from the previous session, which it didn't. That's important information. Sometimes what doesn't happen is as important as what does. When we rejected value from yesterday, the late spike situation was back on, and you can see that the market drove higher. Now we have another situation. Same thing. We have a late spike. At the end of the day yesterday, we are going to open in or above this late spike. It's going to create support. The base of this late spike is down here, right around 39.47.48 area. That's the base of this late spike. So if we get a pullback down to that level, it's an opportunity. If we open with a gap and we leave the opening range at the low of the session, I'm going to be looking for this market to continue this move to the upside. There's no real overnight inventory to work with, and we are bordering on a gap. If we open with a gap, leave that opening range at the low of the session, can't close the gap, we'll look for this market to continue higher. It could be another situation like yesterday. We open above the late spike or above. We move back lower. If we show signs of acceptance of value from yesterday, it could bring us down to the low of value from yesterday. But if we don't accept that's going to keep the late spike to the upside plan in play, and we're going to look for opportunities to buy this market on weakness. There's a lot of information due out. We're still waiting for industrial production here at 8:15. We're still looking for business inventories and housing market index. And then, of course, there's always the possible headline risk. Take a look at the Nasdaq. Same but different. I always seem to be saying that, but it's so true. Weekly kickoff high is in play today. We got within 2 points of it in the overnight session. We got an okay increase in open interest yesterday, 1,300 contracts, not great. There was so much more that this market has to make up to get caught up with the other three indices, which are, putting in all-time highs, even as we speak. So this level here, this weekly kickoff is going to be really important. I'm looking for opportunity at this level. If we can't take it out, I'm going to look for a move back to the downside. But if we can get above it and accept, then I'm going to look for opportunities to the upside. Well, we have the similar situation here in the Nasdaq as in the S&Ps. Yesterday, we had the late spike. We opened above it. We did not accept inside value from yesterday. Well, now we've got another late spike. We've got settlement right here, which is 13,069 and a quarter, and we've got some overnight inventory with which to deal with up against an important inflection level as well. So, our overnight longs, we're going to be opening with a gap. Watch that opening range in the Nasdaq. If it remains either the high or the low of the session, that may indicate buyer or seller control right off the open. The weekly kickoff offers an opportunity. A move back down to settlement or the overnight low also brings an opportunity. So, our equities today are kind of saying we might need to respond a little bit earlier. So I'm going to be depending on that opening range, that first minute of trade, to give me some idea of a possible direction or buyer or seller control. Gold seems to just be kind of on an upside wander. We're still kind of cutting volume off now in the opposite direction. We were cutting volume off on the way down. We're still cutting volume off on the way back up. Open interest, we added 6,500 in open interest. That's indicating at least there's some interest in this market coming back in. It might be building some energy. We've got some smaller ranges here. That's going to kind of compress this market. I think we're headed for a change, either a test of weekly kickoff high or an inability to reach that could take us back down to weekly kickoff low. It's just unknown. It's really kind of blurry as to what is going to happen here. Here's the 30-minute chart. No real overnight inventory, no gap, back to settlement. What are we doing? I'm going to stay patient. I'm going to see what happens at the extremes, our overnight low, our overnight high. Right in the middle here, and value from yesterday, so close to the point to the settlement price as well as the point of control. I'm not that interested. I'm going to be looking for opportunities when something changes here. To some degree, it's kind of off the radar for me today, but I'm going to be, just watching, and if something comes to me, I think it's so important to do that. We just let the market come to you, tell you, hey, here's a nice cheap opportunity for you, and those are the ones you want to take. If you go looking for them, you're going to find them, and maybe they're not going to be the ones that you're really going to want to take. Yep, my brother Rick says metals, wait and see mode. Absolutely. All right, the euro, almost a similar situation as gold. It has been for some time. Pretty big boost in open interest yesterday. 7,700 on this little move here, and an inside day and an inside day. There is some energy coming back into this market. It is kind of raising it on my radar again, but because we're so centrally located between weekly kickoff high and weekly kickoff low, I'm looking at this market to really remain in short time frame control, and for the market to kind of respect short time frame levels. If that stops, if we start walking through short time frame levels, we may be indicating a longer time frame participation. Really kind of a big open interest change yesterday. Again, perhaps rollover related, but we had some pretty substantial overnight longs as we were coming into the open here this morning, all the way back to settlement, back into range, back into value. I don't think that there's any reason to really be in any big hurry. This was a range-bound day. It probed both ways. It didn't go anywhere. I'm really surprised at that big boost in open interest. So there's something going on here. Don't know what it is and don't know when it's going to start, but it may be on the way. Take a look at the 10-year now. All right. Downside structure, of course, remains. We've got this, kind of trend line, 1, 2, 3 points of contact. We've got a falling triangle formation going here. This last week's low, yesterday's low. We were noticing that yesterday. That was going to be kind of an important level for us to look for an opportunity. We have not seen that opportunity yet today. This 131 and 23:30 seconds level down here, really kind of important. If we get the opportunity to see the market there, that's something I'll be looking for, possibly some sort of an execution. And here's the 30-minute chart. That narrow range yesterday. Are we holding perhaps a few overnight longs? Probably not. I'm thinking this market is pretty well evened out from any overnight activity or inventory. So it's kind of off the radar for me. I think that our overnight high is very interesting. It's the high from Friday's range, and there's some space above there. We've left a gap, so that's something that to look at and maybe see if we can find some directional activity above our current price, our overnight high, and the high from last Friday. This is in kind of an interesting area here. I'm not going to be participating in this. But it does look like there might be some opportunity at this level, whether that is a failure to get into the gap or that a failure here puts us back to the downside and perhaps to a test of that previous week's low and yesterday. If we find some momentum, we build some volume up here, there's plenty of space for this market to go higher. Of course, all of that really depends on the yield itself. So we see the yield coming off a little bit, and it might be just what it takes to push this market back to the upside. So let's see what we've got going on. All right. Okay. And again, thanks for the anniversary thing. Congratulations. Okay, Pinocchio. How old does that make you, Rick? Murph. It would be 35. Yes, only off by 30 years. Boost in open interest is very interesting. Yes, there were a couple of open interest changes that occurred yesterday that were a little bit of a shock, if you will, unexpected, and it means that there's interest in those products, and that some change may be coming at some point soon. Got my level twos looking at 39.41 and 39.45 in the S&Ps. Metals wait and see mode. Yep, and I want to go ahead and take a look here back at the crude, see how that opening is holding. Just bear with me for a second here. A direct hit to the weekly kickoff low. We may be starting to see some of our overnight shorts starting to get a little bit nervous here. Interesting. All right. I see your question here, Trading Research. The weekly kickoff levels in the S&Ps are right here. We've got 40.10 to the upside, and we've got 38.48 to the downside. 38.58 was a pretty useful number in the March contract. It's 38.48 in the June contract, and I don't mind at all. Okay, so we've got plenty of time to be ready for the equity open. I'm going to take my deep breath. Stay humble, grateful, and creative today. If you're feeling good and you're feeling fresh and you're ready for the day, go for it. If you're feeling compromised at all, take your time. Be cool, calm, collected, and look for the right opportunities. On that note, I'm going to... Oh, wait a minute. One more thing I wanted to do here. The group coaching session tomorrow. Here is the link. That link I have. I don't know why I don't have the Discord, but that's the link for group coaching tomorrow. Bring your questions. Anything and everything are open, and it's one of my favorite times of the week, as I get the chance to talk to all of you and talk to the people that come to that, and it's sometimes it's a good challenge for me. Nobody knows everything. I certainly don't, and it gives me an opportunity to learn something from you as well. So I look forward to hopefully seeing you there. Have a great day, everybody. Trade well. We should see us for the Coach's Playbook today around about 11:30 probably, and then you'll see Dan hopefully again for the market recap. Hopefully he's not busy, and you'll get the chance to see my man Dan. So trade well today. Get out there, profit, have a great day, and we'll see you on the Coach's Playbook. Till then, see you later.